afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Cadbury Taste Theatre. My name's Melanie Ryan, and I'm here from Cadbury Kitchens, and I'd love to show you some recipes using Cadbury baking chocolate this afternoon. How are you all? Good? Glad to sit down in the shade, maybe. I would like to show you two recipes that came from a cookbook that my colleagues and I worked on this year, and it's called Simply Heaven Chocolate, and it has 75 beautiful recipes in it, all using Cadbury chocolate, and they have also married with Philadelphia products in there too. So if you weren't able to get a copy of this in November, it's off the shelves again now. You can proceed over to the Cadbury tent after the demonstration and purchase it there for $10. It's a terrific book, even if I do say so myself. It covers all the gamut of sweet things, from biscuits and cakes to ice creams and cheesecakes, and all with the different sorts of chocolates in there. So it's lots of good ideas. Everything's photographed in there, so you can get inspiration quite easily from it. So that's from the marquee. The other thing is the recipes, as I said, that I'm doing this afternoon are from here. So if you'd like to do the recipes at home, then you can pick up a copy and make them yourselves at home. The first recipe I want to show you this afternoon is a flourless chocolate cardamom cake. And in the food processor, I've got some toasted walnuts, a little bit of corn flour, a little bit of caster sugar, and some cardamom. Cardamom powder it's from the cardamom seed pod, and it has a very subtle, almost lemony type of flavour. So I just need to process those. I'd let it go a little bit longer just to get a bit finer, but I can't talk while that's going, so we'll go for a slightly coarser mixture. It's going to make a continental style of cake, beautiful with coffee, and using the toasted walnuts, we toast them in the oven. It just gives them a beautiful flavour. Now, the other things that I need to do for this cake, what I've got in the jug here, it's a little bit messy now because I've had it melting, but I've got some Cadbury dark baking chocolate melts, and I've melted them with some Philadelphia spreadable cream cheese. Now, with our baking chocolate range, you get the beautiful Cadbury flavour, and the chocolates have been developed so that they can withstand more temperature than the normal Cadbury dairy milk chocolate off the supermarket shelf. So those are eating chocolates for just straight from the packet, and our baking chocolate tastes delicious, and I have to say I usually do pick a little bit while I'm going, but the chocolate is able to perform well even after it's been baked, or in some cases frozen in ice creams and things like that. So I've used the dark chocolate melts, and what's great about those is that they're all in even sized pieces, and when you're melting chocolate, it's a good idea to have it evenly sized pieces, otherwise little bits will melt quickly and your larger pieces will take longer, and in that time you might overheat the small pieces. So that's what the melts are for, just for your convenience to make a good melted product. And I've melted them in the microwave today. You can melt chocolate in the microwave or in a bowl over gently simmering water. Whichever way you go, you need to make sure that it's really, really gentle. Chocolate likes TLC. If you do it too fast, you might overheat your chocolate and it will seize. And you need to use nice, clean equipment, because any moisture in the bowl, or if you're doing it over a saucepan of water, any condensation that forms as the steam rises and drips back can seize your chocolate as well. I don't want to frighten you off with that. It's actually very easy to do. If you haven't done it before, we've got tips on our website, and we've also got them in the cookbook. So the website you might be interested to know is www.cadburykitchen.com.au. And my colleagues and myself have been putting recipes on there for quite some time now, and we like to update and refresh it every month with new recipes. So that's that. We'll talk a bit more about chocolate as we go along. What we have to add to this, and I might do it over here so you can see a little bit better. Once this is cooled slightly, make sure it's cooled slightly before you add some egg yolks to it. If you add the egg yolks to it while it's still really warm, you might end up with scrambled eggs, which won't be so good. And I'm just dissolving a little bit of caster sugar in that, and we'll mix that into the chocolate and filly. So that's the yolks. Look at the beautiful colour of those yolks. They must be happy, healthy chooks, I think. So I'll just mix that all in. And this is a cake that gets better with standing. I keep it in an airtight container, but the flavour just improves and improves. It's beautiful with coffee. It's also lovely with a glass of port or liqueur, or if anyone drinks brandy, something like that, it's delicious with that as well. So there's the chocolate, the yolks and the sugar. I wanted to add a teaspoon of vanilla as well. In producing the Simply Heaven cookbook, we found that, I guess we probably knew it already, but nuts and vanilla and spices and things are beautiful friends of chocolate. So there's so many ways that you can make different chocolate things and make them taste different. We've also had some fun though with some chili in chocolate, both in the book. We did some chili plums to go with a coffee chili cheesecake, and we've also got on the website some savoury dishes that you might like to look up, sort of Mexican and South American inspired, where we've put cocoa into savoury dishes or a little bit of dark chocolate, and it acts like a flavour. It intensifies the flavour. It's beautiful. Okay, into this. Now some orange. So this is building up all the fragrances in this cake. I'm going to put the orange zest in, and I've got a microplane to do it, which is terrific. It makes it easy just to get the orange part off, but you can do it with a normal grater. Just be careful to only get the orange part of the rind, not the white pith, because the pith doesn't taste so good, but the orange is sensational. Now leave that. Change power. It's a bit like camping. Well, actually it's not like camping, it's a bit too flash for camping, but move that over there. And now the egg whites are in this bowl, and what we need to do is to whip those up till they're nearly stiff peaks. I'll show you what that looks like, and add some sugar, and that's going to add volume to the cake. Egg whites are something that can go full speed ahead. Some things need lower speeds, but with egg whites we can go full tilt. Who's been over to the Cadbury tent this afternoon? Have you tried some of the things that are at the Cadbury tent? For those of you who haven't been over there, it's not the first one outside the door, it's the next one over. And what we've got over there are free samples of Mum's chocolate slice and milk chocolate chip cookies. And this little recipe card you can pick up as well. So you can taste them, and if you like them, you might like to get a recipe card and make them at home. But also we're selling them over there in packs, so that if you think you might have the munchies later on, you can take a pack away with you. The other good thing about this recipe card is it's got on it the website address, so you can look up the website that I was telling you about. Here we've got the egg whites nice and stiff. You can see there's no movement in there. You don't want to overbeat them or they'll get dry and then they'll collapse again. What we'll do is to just add a bit more sugar in there. That will help stabilise the egg white. You might wonder why I've added sugar in bits all the way through, but in this case it keeps the foam nice and firm so we can get some air into the cake. So a little bit of caster sugar. If you're doing a lot, like in a meringue where you've got quite a bit of sugar to put in, just make sure you add it gradually, because you should get it all dissolved, otherwise your meringue will start to weep. Oh, what's happened here? Okay. Who cooks with chocolate? Have you tried the Cadbury baking chocolate range? I think you can get the idea of what it looks like. It's all in that beautiful Cadbury purple colour, and it's available in all the supermarkets. We really like it. It performs really well, but like I said to you earlier, it also tastes really nice. So that's important, I think. It's always good when you're cooking to start off with good, fresh, good quality ingredients. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're cooking steak like Janelle was just before, or seafood or berries or whatever. If you're going to the trouble, then you should have something really good quality to begin with. Now, what I've got, there's the chocolate mixture there. We'll just put all the toasted nuts and corn flour and sugar into there. The reason I put a little bit of sugar into this bowl is so that the nuts didn't turn into like a walnut butter. Having the powdered sugar in there just helps to keep it from becoming a paste. So you can be rough with this part of it. And then to sort of loosen it up, I'll add about 1/3 of the meringue. It just looks so nice, doesn't it? I love the look of a meringue. So you stir that in. As I said, you'll knock a bit of air out doing it like this, but it helps to loosen up the mixture. And then we'll just put the rest of the egg white in. And now we need to be fairly gentle and do a cut and fold motion. I'll show you what I mean by that. It's not a hairdressing technique, it's a cooking technique. You sort of cut through the middle, lift up the bottom of the mixture and fold it over, and then you sort of go at right angles to that and do the same thing, swapping positions in the bowl as you go. And that way you can combine it all. I probably could have done with a slightly bigger bowl here, but you get the idea. Fold it all the way in. You could do this with almonds. You could do it with pistachios. You could do it with macadamia nuts. Toasting the nuts first makes it a big difference to the flavour. You toast them by putting them on an oven tray in the oven, moderate oven for about 5 minutes, and it just brings up the flavour beautifully. All right. Since you have to make sure we've got no white bubbles of egg white left. Are you and then we're cooking it in a springform pan. The idea of doing it in a springform pan just means that it's easier to turn out. And what I've done with that is to oil it and baseline it. I'm getting a bit impatient now, but I don't think it's so exciting for you to watch me standing here stirring a cake mixture. But you must get rid of all that egg white and make sure everything's beautiful and smooth. This is something you could make tonight, and it would be beautiful tomorrow night if you're entertaining on New Year's Eve. Just pop it in an airtight container when it's cold. That's one naughty bit of egg white that I missed. Okay, and gently put it into the oven so that you don't knock the air out of it. And that's what you do with the cake. In the recipe book, we've done it with some marsala baked quinces. Now the recipe for that is in the cookbook. When you've cooked quinces, or hang on, how many people have cooked quinces before? Only one? I'll have to show you a picture then. Quinces are a really old-fashioned fruit, and I'm sure you'll see quince trees in Tasmania. Quinces, when you pick them, you don't eat them raw. They're actually quite tart and really, really hard. I'm just going to see if I can find the page. Now, I can't find the page to show you off the top of my head. Quinces cook for a long time. You need to cook them for a couple of hours in a syrup. And if you cook them longer and slowly, they turn the most beautiful ruby colour. I just wish I could show you what they look like. And we've done that because we thought it would be a nice thing to serve in the winter with them. Quinces are sort of a late autumn fruit. But if you wanted to serve it in the summer, which is obviously where we're at the moment, I think you can't go past fresh berries. I don't know if you can. I should hold this up so you can see while I'm flicking through some of the things that are in the book. Here we are, Flourless chocolate cardamom cake. Can you see the quinces there? See the colour of them? There's no red wine in them or anything like that. That's just the beautiful colour that they go. Actually, we put marsala in there, which is particularly nice. Anyway, so here we are. Here's the cake. And what I'm going to do is just dust it with some cocoa. It's not flour, as my container says. And this is our Cadbury Bourneville cocoa, which is a flavour that everybody, I think, knows from childhood. And what we'll put on top of that are some berries. for a summer service. And you could just serve it with dollops of beautiful fresh cream. That would be really nice. Pile them up in the middle. Whoops. Oh, they're very naughty raspberries, aren't they? Misbehaving. And there you go. I could sit there and fiddle with that for a bit longer, but I think you get the idea. So that's that cake, and I'll just change my trays and I'll show you another recipe. The next recipe I'd like to show you is something that we put onto the website at Valentine's Day. We were thinking romantic thoughts, and this is a milk chocolate brulee. And what that actually means is a burnt cream. How many of you have tried brulee before? Do you like it? Yes, not diet food, but it's lush. So in the saucepan I've got some cream, and I've got a bit of spreadable Philadelphia cream cheese, and we just want to melt that and make sure it's nice and smooth. And I'm making a milk chocolate creme brulee. So we need half a block of the baking chocolate. You could substitute melts if you like. We'll use the block today. And this is another way of melting chocolate. I'm going to get the cream quite hot. Not boiling, but quite hot, and then we'll use the heat of that to melt the chocolate. When I was saying to you earlier about melting chocolate, you can melt it in the microwave, and when you do it in the microwave, do it on 50% power and do it in 30-second bursts, and just stir it after every 30 seconds because you'll find that it will have melted but kept its shape, okay? That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is in a saucepan in a bowl over water. Just make sure the water doesn't touch the bottom of the bowl. Okay, while that's happening, I've got a couple of egg yolks and some sugar. We'll mix that together. We're not using the egg whites here. We don't want the egg whites because we want a really nice, dense, creamy dessert. Now, the recipe for this is in the book and on our website, and it is for 2 serves, but you can easily double it or even triple it for the family. And you can also substitute your choice of chocolate. So whilst I'm using milk today, if you prefer a white chocolate one or a dark chocolate one, then you can just substitute in the quantities. Now that's that. Let's see how we're going here. Nearly there. Okay. With your chocolate, just store it in the pantry in an airtight container, wrapped in foil. It doesn't need to go into the fridge. And shelf life's usually is 12 months, but you can check the use-by dates on that. With the chocolate cooking that we do, I find that it doesn't hang around very long. Now, that looks just about done. So I'll bring that over here. And we'll add the chocolate in. Who was here for Janelle's last recipe? I think you kids were, and you see her beautiful slice with Cadbury chocolate. She was telling me about that this morning. Did you get to try some? Was it good? It smelled delicious. Okay, so you can see the heat from that is all we need there. Just to melt that chocolate. This is a really easy thing to do. Again, it's something to do a day ahead. You could do a death by chocolate sort of dessert by making little shot glasses of this or some tiny little ramekin and serve that, and you could serve a small piece of the cake and another chocolate dessert. Just have a look through the book and you'll find lots of ideas. And it's really nice to try the different flavours of the chocolate. Okay, we just beat that till it's smooth and make sure it's cooled down a little bit. I don't want it too hot. Like in the last recipe, if it's too hot when we add the egg yolks, then we might end up with scrambled eggs. I love scrambled eggs, but not in my chocolate. All right, so I'll just whisk that in carefully. In it goes. Who knows what a bain-marie is? Yeah? This needs to be cooked in a bain-marie. And what that means, you need a little baking dish like this and fill it with boiling water, or at least hot water out of the tap, so that it comes about a third of the way up the side of your container. Okay, and what that's going to do is to make a nice gentle heat for your creme brulee. So that's it for that. We just pour it into the ramekins. You could get heart-shaped ones. We photographed it in heart-shaped ones for Valentine's Day. There we are. Imagine the water, imagine the oven, and then when they come out of the oven, you need to put them in the fridge. When you're ready to serve them, take them out, and they'll be quite firm. And then what you do is to sprinkle them with sugar. Now, we did have a blowtorch which wasn't behaving itself yesterday, so we've retired that. An alternative to that is to sprinkle sugar over the surface and then put it under your griller. So I've done this. You don't get quite the same golden effect, but what you do get from sprinkling the sugar and caramelising under the griller is a nice hard toffee surface. So when you eat it, you can crack it with your spoon and break the toffee and go down into the beautiful velvet creme brulee, and it's really nice. So the toffee works beautifully with the chocolate for the flavour, but you also get that different texture. So that's a really nice thing to do. You can get little Cook's blowtorches, and hopefully when you get one, it'll work better than ours. I think ours is maybe jet lagged or something, I don't know. But if you haven't got one, then you can always put it under the griller. You just need to keep an eye on it, because the sugar will do nothing, and then all of a sudden it'll start to caramelise. So there is our milk chocolate creme brulees. And here's our chocolate cardamom cake. And that's all I've got time to show you today. But before I leave, I wondered, has anyone got any questions about cooking with chocolate? No? I can't give you a taste of the brulee today, but we have got tastings of the cake, which was made for us by a local baker. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions that you might have when you're having a taste of it. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you for your time this afternoon. Pop over to the Cadbury tent and say hello to our colleagues over there. But just before you go, hang about and have a taste of the cake. And thanks for your time this afternoon. I hope you enjoy the evening.